All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the optional bidders conference for the Arts and Corrections RFP 202201.
04?
04, excuse me. Oh, I'm already off to a bad start.
No, just the new one. It's for the new one.
It's the new
one.
one. It's the 04,
one.
everybody. Okay, so click closed caption button within your Zoom dashboard and select show subtitle. If you want to see the subtitles, please use the chat box for introductions and comments and use the Q&A box for questions, including access support. I am Jonathan Estrada, your facilitator, Arts and Corrections Program Analyst. My pronouns are he, him. And this is Liz Azevedo, the also facilitator, Program Director. Pronouns are she, her. First, we're going to do the land acknowledgement. We're going to discuss the bidders conference outcomes. We're going to speak about upcoming amendments.
Addendums.
Important dates for the RFP and questions and answers after all of that. All right, so as part of the California Arts Council's ongoing traditions, we would like to stand in solidarity with all of California's indigenous people. We acknowledge that our work takes place on the now occupied traditional lands of the Miwok, Maidu, and Nisenan people, who are the past, present, and future stewards of this place. We make this first step in our journey to develop relationships and cultural competencies, and that's the first step to truly support Native sovereignty. I'd also like to, let's take the time to, if you like, go ahead and write in your land acknowledgement of where you are viewing this, webinar today. All right, so just a few outcomes of our bidders conference. We want to share the changes made to the RFP. We want to allow prospective proposers to ask questions about the services sought or RFP requirements and/or instructions. We also want to share the answers to general questions and inquiries received before and during the webinar. All right, so what's new? After considering feedback from the community and partner agencies, the following changes have been made between the canceled RFP and the recently released RFP. The CAC has developed an electronic submission process. Proposals must be emailed as a zip file to rfp@art.ca.gov. We added some language in Chapter 10 to clarify rights and responsibilities that protect both the soliciting agency, which is the CAC, and the proposers, the coordinating organizations, which is you. We lowered the maximum awarded contract amount to $1,500,000, and we also introduced a new tiebreaker rule. Essentially, if two competing proposers score the exact same amount, we are going to invite you to a Zoom coin toss, and we'll figure out who wins the contract by heads or tails. We are going to be adding a few addendums. There was a minor typo on page 38 or 37. Proposals will be due Monday, September 19th, 2022 at 11:59. It previously, just in that one section, said Friday, September 16th, 2022. We are also updating the PDF form to allow for fillable fields. It may be in the form of a Microsoft Word document if the system allows. We're also including additional language, clarifying that the CAC may contact proposers to request clarification or completion of required documents to allow an opportunity to address technical issues. All right, so let's just go over a few key action dates. Friday, September 2nd at 5 o'clock, we had the RFP available to prospective bidders. Right now is the optional bidders conference. If you have any questions after this conference, feel free to email them to me, jonathan.estrada@arts.ca.gov. And we will be posting all questions asked today and up until I receive that last email on Friday, September 9th by 5 p.m. We want proposal submissions due Monday, September 9th, 2022 at 11:59 p.m.
Monday, September 19th.
19th, yeah. And if I were you, I would not wait until 11:59.
Yeah.
All right, so we can go ahead and start questions and answers. The Q&A is already going. The chat is disabled. I apologize, everybody. The chat is disabled, but the Q&A is not. So this is for questions and answers regarding technical aspects of the RFP. So someone asked when we will receive the updated PDF form with fillable fields. Will that be emailed? That will not be emailed. I'm going to release that as an addendum by Friday of this week. In the meantime, so that you can still work on the RFP, I would recommend copying and pasting into a Microsoft Word document or your preferred word processing document. The current budget form seems to have incorrect dates. We want you to go ahead and edit the dates to reflect the programming year proposed in the RFP. Any other questions? Be happy to accept them and read them out loud today. While we're waiting for the Q&A to fill up, I'm just gonna ask some questions that came up through email.
Okay.
All right, let's see. So the Gmail attachment size limit is 25 megabytes, and other email providers have similar limits. Would a link to a zip file on a Google Drive or Dropbox be permitted as the application? Liz and I discussed this, and we are happy to accept Dropbox links, but the big reason why we are using the zip format is because the state contractor's manual requires that all proposals be in a sealed envelope. So we are using the zip file to mimic the sealed envelope. So if you are going to put in a link to a Google Drive or Dropbox, we want you to put that into a PDF document and zip the PDF document. That'll fulfill the state requirements. How do we find the addendum? The addendum is going to be on the Arts and Corrections website. And it's also going to be posted on eProcure. Will there be confirmation that proposals are received and the documents can be opened? That morning when we start opening the proposal, well, first off, as soon as you send in your proposal, that email address, the RFP at arts.ca.gov is automatically going to respond to you and let you know that your proposal was received. That's to be used as your receipt. As far as the documents being opened, we cannot open them until the morning when we start the panel. So at that point, we are actually adding language in the upcoming addendum that will allow us to contact you, and you'll have a 48-hour turnaround. Is that correct, Liz?
Yes, so the language that we were able to find to that we will be putting in the addendum gives CAC an opportunity to reach out to a proposer if there is such a technical issue as some attachment or some document could not be open. So it gives us an opportunity, not that it guarantees that this will happen, but it gives us an opportunity to reach out to a proposer and say, we need you to address a technical issue. Please submit this document or make this accessible or openable. And then you have a 48-hour window in which to respond to that electronic, respond electronically, meaning that you will have to send us the document by PDF through email to that RFP address, email address. And then after that 48 hours, we may consider the proposal not responsive if it does not meet the specifications of the RFP. So please be aware of that. Also want to remind folks who are participating today that no verbal information that we're giving today is binding on the state or the agency unless such information is issued in writing as an official addendum. So by that we mean, as we are going through the Q&A session today, and then also responding to Q&As received by tomorrow's deadline via email, that the questions and answers that are considered binding will be included in the addendum that we post to the eProcure website and also to the AIC website this Friday, September 9th. So I wanted to remind everybody of that as well.
Thank you, Liz.
Mm-hmm.
RFP artists provider samples were to be sent on a USB. How do we submit now? All of this is going to be done through that zip file. So Roberta, yes, your assumption is correct. Anonymous attendee is asking, do we replace the ABC name with the org's full name in all caps or with 3 initials for org's name? ABC is just a made up organization's name. So you will replace that with your full name. Is it appropriate to weave in comments and endorsements of our programs from program participants and CRM/wardens into our narrative answers? Many of us have participants who highly endorse the programs we provide and deputy wardens and CRMs who want our program to continue. Donna Jo, that is a good question. How would you like to answer that, Liz?
So I would say, as you're reading through the RFP and you're looking at the prompts, the required prompts, and you're considering how you want to respond to those prompts, right? So anything that you feel helps to communicate your organization's ability to fulfill those requirements are things you may want to consider including in your narrative responses, or in your artist samples, or even there's a form that is one of the required documents that is references, right? And so maybe there are a couple of places where you might consider including that information in the RFP to demonstrate your capacity and ability to meet the requirements stated in the RFP.
Thank you, Liz.
Mm-hmm.
Who will be the scoring reviewers? Will there be representatives from CDCR included in the review? So as we said in the previous webinars that we had regarding the cancellation of 2022-01, the agency that is awarding the money and the contract has to be the agency whose employees are making up the panel for review. So it will be more than likely myself, Liz, and an additional staff of the CAC.
Yeah, I will say that we are intending to reach out to our partners at the CDCR to help us orient the staff evaluation panel, to provide the panelists with some context and history and information that may assist the panelists in accurately evaluating the proposals that are received that are eligible for review.
So our ED signed addendum documents. Do we need to update the dates signed to a more recent date, or can we leave them? This is a completely different RFP than the previous RFP, and we want all proposers to treat it as such. While you can use a lot of the narrative from the previous RFP to help write your narratives in this one, we do want updated dates and signatures.
Yeah, it has to be all new forms.
Should we submit an electronic copy and hard copy of the RFP or just one method?
Only electronic.
Only electronic.
This is only electronic. Yeah, no hard copies, no USB thumb drive, only electronic so your response to the RFP must be emailed to the address in the RFP, the rfp@arts.ca.gov.
And the great thing about this is that this proposal is going to be between us, and we're not worried about a third-party shipping agent like USPS, FedEx, or them dropping it off late, which did happen. Our receptionist, he actually reached out to make them come back because they missed delivery times. They came at 7 o'clock in the morning or something. So this really is to make things easier for you.
Yeah, more accessible, and also gives you additional time because now you don't have to build in time for delivering a hard copy.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Is it acceptable to add an additional letter of support from the CRM or warden if there is no preference listed in the RFP? So you can include additional documents. It does state that in the RFP under additional RFP documents. Like Liz said, there are also numerous spots where you can include that information, including the references page. During the review, do the scoring panelists meet and discuss the proposals before ranking? This is very different from the way the grant panels are done. Typically, we're all in the same room. If somebody isn't able to come in and we have to do it through Zoom, the two of us, Liz and I, would be there, and the third person would be there on the computer. So we are all discussing it, reading it in real time together.
Mm-hmm.
Janessa wants to know, thank you so much for this. If we applied before in the previous canceled round, is there a way we can see our points on that application? So if you applied before in the previous council round, you can ask for a public request.
Public records request. So if you go to the CAC website, there's a link on the CAC website to submit a Public Records Act request, and you can submit that request through, I believe it's editor@arts.ca.gov. That's our webmaster address, and then that is how we receive any Public Records Act request, and then the agency can receive that, can process it, and respond to the request for records.
All right, and then we can go back to the emailed answers while we wait for some more emails, or excuse me, more questions from the Q&A. All right, page 37 says that the video and music samples may be submitted as links. Can audio other than music, for example, a podcast episode, be submitted as a link? For all intents and purposes, we're using the word music to mean any audio file. So, all whatever your art may be, if you can't submit it as a, like a regular JPEG, regular picture, yes, please send it as a link for us to review. When will a notice of intent to award be posted? So we are taking our time reviewing these RFPs. We don't necessarily want to put a date out there because we do want sufficient time to review them thoroughly and compile all data accurately. Go ahead, Liz.
Yes. As Jonathan was saying, we want to ensure that we are taking the time necessary to thoroughly review and evaluate and score each eligible proposal. And then also we are building in time after that to ensure that we have reviewed and checked and double checked and even triple checked all of the averages and tabulations of the scores to ensure that when we do move to post an intent to award, that the information that intent to award is based on is thorough and it is accurate, and it is reflective of a complete and fair and equitable evaluation process. So we don't have an ETA for the intent to award. The proposals are due September 19th, and we are then, depending on the number of eligible proposals received, we're kind of proceeding with the evaluation from there. So we are hoping to do it soon, but we are not rushing that process.
Right. And as soon as we do have an intent to award, all proposers will be emailed by me. All right, so when will this Zoom recording be posted to the AIC site? Likely tomorrow. Our PA team is a little short-staffed today. We will try before the end of the day, but very likely tomorrow. Lauren, okay. Cecilia wants to know if we requested our scoring earlier, but only received scoring on part 1 in response to that previous request. Should we submit our request for the full scoring via the Public Records Act request email? So all records, all scoring records that are requested have been sent out. All right, so I'm going to give a little bit of time for some more questions to be asked.
Yeah.
All right, Liz, do you think there's anything that we may have missed?
I don't think so. I do want to emphasize to all of our participants and prospective proposers, please, please, please ensure that you are thoroughly reading this entire solicitation. As Jonathan was saying earlier, this is a new RFP. So it is not identical to the one that was canceled. Please read through carefully to ensure you are understanding the information presented, the rights and responsibilities, and also the requirements for a full and complete proposal, including the electronic submission process. You probably also will want to review the addendum that will be posted on Friday for the updated forms, the updated key dates confirming the proposal submission due date is Monday, September 19th, 2022 at 11:59 p.m. at Pacific Daylight Time for anybody who may be traveling. And also to access any updated information and Q&A that will also be posted with that addendum. We cannot stress this enough, the need to verify that all the documentation and responses required prior to submission of the proposal is the responsibility of the proposer. We really, really want everybody to take this in and understand, like, that is the responsibility of the proposer. So we have done the best that we can in the time that we had to make some changes to the RFP in response to the constructive feedback that we received from the community, from our partners at CDCR, from our partners at DGS, the Office of Legal Services, and from our contracts staff to ensure a fair and reasonable and equitable process for this RFP. So please, please, please do take the time to read through the solicitation, the RFP document, and to read through the Q&As that will be posted on Friday, and ensure, again, that all documents, all responses necessary to submit a complete and eligible proposal have been completed before you make that submission.
Thank you, Liz.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so again, any questions must be sent to jonathan.estrada@arts.ca.gov by tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. And those answers to those questions will be posted online with the addendum on Friday, September 9th, 2022 by 5 p.m. Again, you can keep update all the updates that we release by going to artsandcorrections.org, and right up top, there is a click here for details. All right, thank you very much for joining us today. I want everybody to have a great day and good luck with your proposals.
Thank you, everyone.